and Mark Angelotti, the Peace Chain.
Noel, I'll let you start.
Thank you. Okay. Yes, I'm going to do an introduction here. I want to get started telling you a little bit about Mark Angelotti. Mark Angelotti was president of Trenton Rotary, not this year, but the previous year. And Mark, when I was going to be district governor, he said, Noel, just tell me what you want me to do and I'll do it. And I said, well, you know, I'd really like you to head up the Peace Chain and Link Awards at the district level. And he said, I'm on it. I've got this. So, you know, that's the kind of high-spirited, high-quality guy who's behind the chairperson for the Peace Chain. The inspiration for the Peace Chain came from, you know, in Rotary, we've got this phrase or slogan where we say, Rotary joins leaders to exchange ideas to take action. Okay, so, and I'm thinking, how does Rotary join these leaders? And we think, well, we have a meeting or we, you know, we reach out to the community. But I thought, do we have some sort of specific tool to join leaders? And joining leaders to me has a couple of aspects to it. One is membership, where we actually bring people into our Rotary clubs. But the other aspect would be collaboration in the community with people that are like-minded and have alignments with our Rotary goals. So the Peace Chain is a tool that we can use to reach out to members in the community or organizations in the community that we're like-minded with. And Mark is going to expound on that. But if you look at the traditional way that we have looked for members in our community, we always had the vocational selection that we'd look for. And we'd say, well, we're going to get one dentist and we're going to get one banker, or, you know, we're going to get two bankers, whatever the numbers were. But we were looking for people that were in different vocations. With the Peace Chain, we're looking for people for links in the community that are working, and these are individuals or organizations that are working to contribute to the strength, stability, and peacefulness of the community. So to me, these are people that are kind of like already Rotarians but don't know it. And these would be maybe people that we've got a list of these people, and it's not limited to this list, but people that would be like food pantries, school counseling programs, literacy programs, community foundations, mental health organizations or individuals working in mental health, arts organizations, local businesses that are doing an incredible job in the community. You know, one of our things is community economic development. So there's people out there who are doing a great job economically, family and children's services, veterans organizations. So the list is only limited by your imagination. So this gives us a tool to actually go out into the community and find these people and work to recognize them as links in the chain. And so I want you to know we've actually, with the Peace Chain, we do have some theme music with the Peace Chain. And it's a takeoff on Cat Stevens' Peace Train. And part of the lyrics go, I've been happy lately thinking about the good things to come. And I do believe that good things are happening. And, you know, I think that's kind of an uplifting, positive way to think about where we're going in the world. So with that, I'd like to turn this over to Mark Angelotti, the chair of the Peace Chain. Thank you.
Thank you, Noel. I guess I want to start by saying congratulations to all the new presidents, and I hope that the missing of the 3-day event out in Kalamazoo doesn't too negatively impact the excitement and momentum that you can gain in that weekend. The use of Zoom has become kind of the norm now, which is good. But I'm sorry you guys didn't get the opportunity that I got, as Noel said, and I was the president in 2018, 2019. So, in our club, what we've talked about and what we're planning is that the immediate past president would be the peace chain chair within our club. That may or may not be appropriate for your club, but it's what we're going to try and do to have some continuity to keep some of the Rotarians involved after their year as president. So one of the most important factors is that every one of the people in your club has the ability, and probably more importantly, has the obligation to seek opportunities for new members in general. Oftentimes we've talked about how we recruit new members. We've had business cards that say, come and I'll buy you lunch. We've done a number of things within our club to try and reach out. Honestly, this peace chain is probably one of the easiest and most, I would say, we're going to recognize people that are like-minded. As Noel said earlier, the people that are going to be nominated for a Peace Chain Award are Rotarians and don't know it yet. So the idea is when we get back, right now, all of this will be online. You will have the nomination form online. All of your members will be able to access it. We hope that you have it on your website. That's something that your members can easily access. Once we go back to having in-person meetings, my suggestion would be that at least monthly, if not more often, that we bring the applications and put 2 or 3 out on each table and allow them to get the paper application. So once the recipient or the Peace Chain Award has been nominated, once a person has been nominated, the next step is for the chair to make contact with them and get them to fill out a biography. Okay, now we've done this a couple different ways, and I've made contact with people. I've gone out to their place of business or met them at some other location and had them fill it out while I got to know the person. And we've also sent it as a PDF via email. They've received it and then filled out their biography. All good information for us. So then we follow that up with a phone call to set up a time for the individual that is going to be receiving the award, to make sure that they're available. Okay, during this time, whether it's the Peace Chain Chair in our particular case, Noel's beautiful wife Debbie kind of handles our log, and she logs all of the information for that recipient into the database. Then the next step is to, once we determine with the recipient what the date is that they're going to be able to come to our meeting, and then we inform the president and let them know that the recipient will be available and will be there. The presentation of the Link Award, it can be handled by the president, it can be handled by the chair, and I think just in listening to the conversation earlier, I think it would be advisable to, if you don't have a Paul Harris Fellow to honor, if you don't have a new member for Noel to induct, when Noel does his district governor meetings, this gives you another opportunity to have someone there to have Noel do a presentation for. And Noel does a great job, whether it's the Paul Harris, whether it's a new member, or whether it's a Link Award. So he will be a good representative of your club in recognizing these recipients. So there's a number of ways you can do that. So then what we always do is we have a photographer that takes those pictures, and then we distribute them not only to the club, but we post them on social media as much as we possibly can. We've also created, you'll see in your packet, a generic press release, and we make sure that that press release gets out to the public and we recognize them. Now, the final piece of this is for all of us, everyone in the district, to bring the Peace Chain recipients together in the form of a in-person meeting. And as we all know, those things are being shelved for the foreseeable future, but certainly an in-person meeting is going to happen. And whether that goes out into, I see Noel put here on the information, March or April of 2021. And I think that's an excellent goal for us to shoot for. So the final piece of this is, and I can honestly say that our club, our Trenton Club, has been successful in using this not only to recognize other people, but to bring people into our club. So our second Peace Chain recipient, at the time of us bringing her into the club and us recognizing her in front of the people at our lunch, she filled out an application and she came to the next 2 lunches and got her 3 qualifying visits and became a member within just a few weeks. So that's probably the story that we want to tell over and over and over. So Noel, I think I've covered it for the most part. I'll let you jump back in if you'd like to.
Sure. Okay, I'm unmuted here. So here's some of the forms that are coming up. So these link awards, of course, links make up a chain. So we're going to have a whole peace chain eventually across the district, but it's made up of links. And the link awards are what I would call inclusive awards. They're not exclusive. You know, we want to find all of the people in our community that are out there that are giving to the community, that are helping to make the community a better place. You know, all of the people, let's say we've got firefighters that are running charity programs. We've got police that are working on school programs. We've got, there's all kinds of people, and we just want to find these people in the community. We've got one woman that's, that does gardening programs for the city. That's the type of person, the people that are out there that are giving back to the community, we want to recognize them. So we're talking about potential members, but at the bottom of the one form here, it says where we're finding out about the person. And that's another thing, is we're inviting this person in, and we can do this by Zoom. You can invite them to your Zoom meeting. But what you're doing is you're asking, they're filling out and you're learning something about this person first. So we're telling this person how great they are before we ever tell them how great we are. So many times we start out with membership and we start trying to sell our club and we start trying to sell Rotary before we even find out that much about that person. So this way we get to know the person and tell them that we think they would be such a great addition to our club before we ever tell them how great the club is. And if you look at the bottom, it says, would you be willing to become a friend of Rotary? That only means we're going to put you on our email list. Okay, everybody checks that off. And at the bottom, it says, I'm interested in becoming a member of Rotary. We had people say, nobody ever asked me. Nobody ever asked me if I could become a Rotarian. And this is a way to go out there and put that ask out in writing and giving that person an opportunity to respond. So I think there's so many aspects about this that can be a great tool. And we're looking in March of this year to have each area bring together, all of the clubs, bring all of their links together. And of course, this would be if we can have a, in-person meeting, but maybe have like a cocktail hors d'oeuvre evening where you bring all of the links together so that they can see who all the people are that are working in food and hunger services and people that are food pantries and literacy and so forth. Bring them together. And then also it's an opportunity, okay, Rotary opens opportunities to be able to do maybe some kind of really great inspirational video on Rotary. A lot of people don't really know what Rotary is all about, particularly on a national or international level. So that's what I wanted to cover on that. Any questions about this? It's, you know, when you dig into it, it's not that difficult. At first, it seems a little confusing and cumbersome, but it's just a way of reaching out and rather than going through and saying, well, we need another dentist, or we need another baker, or we need another teacher. It's a way of looking for all those other people in the community that are doing service-minded type things.
Noel, if I could just jump in for one quick second. On the last slide, if you go forward a little bit, Rick, we did, as Noel mentioned earlier, what's that?
This slide?
Forward, I meant. It's to the target recipients. I think it's, there you go. So we gave you guys a list of areas of people that we look towards. What I would like to ask for all of you is, as you find a area that you've gained some success in, that you share it with the other peace chairs in the district, or the peace chain chair in the district, so that we can look into those areas as well. And then the last thing is that you, as a president, just repeatedly encourage the peace chain chair to drive the membership towards the application. The key here is applicants. Everything is a matter of math, right, Rick?
It's always math. Yep.
So it
By the
all
numbers.
comes down to math. So if we nominate X number, then we're going to get X number of new members. So it all comes down to nominations. The number of people that recognize Rotary or gain understanding on Rotary and have the potential to touch somebody else and talk about Rotary grows, and the number of opportunities we have for new members grows. So the suggestion is that the president stay on top of the peace chain chair, and that any information you guys get that you've used and been successful at, that you share with the peace chain chairs in the rest of the in the district. All right.
So one other thing, there's always like the action that you do, which is your product, but sometimes off of a chain reaction, there's a byproduct. And one of the byproducts of this activity is that we are establishing in every club a peace committee. And we are, all of these clubs that are doing the peace chain are doing a peace project. So this qualifies under the Rotary Action Group for Peace as designation for each club to become a peace builder club. And when you're designated as a peace builder club, you go on the official Rotary Action Group for Peace map, and you're registered as a peace builder club. If you go on the Rotary Action Group for Peace and you go to that map, there's only one red mark in our district right now, and that's the Trenton Club, being a peace builder club. So I'd like to turn our whole district red as much as possible. And so I think this could be a really great thing. The other thing is we're going to have peace chair and peace committee inside of each club. We have some amazing people in our district. We have Fred Pearson, who's a professor of peace and conflict resolution studies at Wayne State University. This gives him an opportunity to have people to communicate with directly throughout our district. So we're just going to be able to enhance the connections and the district and open opportunities.
Excuse me, guys. This is Myra again. Noel, I'm curious because I was surprised to hear you say that Trenton was the only club that had the Peace Builder Committee. The Detroit Club, we've been doing a Peace Summit for the last several years that Dr. Pearson has been the lead on. So that's not considered a part of the Peace Builder Committee that we're talking about?
You have to go to the Rotary Action Group for Peace
Okay.
and
And he
submit,
did,
submit
okay.
your criteria and get
Okay.
registered for that. And I think very quickly and very easily, if you could identify that you have a peace chair and
Yep.
a peace committee, and
Yep.
that you're doing a peace project, you will be registered as a peace builder club.
Thank you so much. I
And
appreciate
I
that
would love, I'd
insight.
love every club to work on that criteria and get themselves established with the Rotary Action Group for Peace. What an
Thanks much.
amazing Rotary Action Group.
Exactly. Thank you much.
Thank
No,
you.
what peace project do you have right now through Trenton?
We're doing Peace Chain.
Okay, but I mean, who do you have so far? Like, give me a little more detail.
What do you mean? We're doing the Peace Chain. We're giving out link awards. We're
So-
recognizing people in the community for their contributions to the strength, stability. Mark, you want to answer that?
Yes, Robin, when we applied for the, to be a Rotary Action Group for Peace, we have Paul Jocks is our chair, and we have Chris Sorensen, who you'll see in a pamphlet in a little bit here in regard to, he's the Chief Engagement Officer I see here in the Be a Hero campaign. And then we have Noel and myself and a couple other members of our club that are members of the Rotary Action Group for Peace. And our signature effort for that is the Peace Chain. However, we also do in our schools, and now I'm going to forget, it's a full day that we invite 20 to 50 of the students, and we bring in a company out of California. Noel, can you refresh my memory if you remember the name of the organization?
Yeah, it's kind of a conflict resolution. I'm sorry that that name has dropped out of my head also.
Son of a gun! It's a great program. The unfortunate part, it's about $7,000 or $8,000 a year. And Rotary has sponsored it like every second or third year for the school to try and get every kid who's in there for 4 years an opportunity to go through the day. As a matter of fact, is it Challenge Day? I think it might be Challenge
Yes,
Day.
very good. Yes.
So if you're interested in doing something from your school and your club has the wherewithal, if you look into that, it's an experience that you won't forget ever. The Rotarians get just as much out of it as the students. So those are a number of the things that we're doing. That's the little group within our club. Does that, Robin, does that help you?
Yes, thank you. That's what I
Okay.
was looking for. Thank you.
So, Mark, quick question. Obviously, you've showed these the bios and the data sheets for the Peace Chain. Are they available digitally, or are you going to be sending them out digitally to the presidents?
Well, each one of these we have on PDF, and certainly if
That
they're
will all go out to everybody digitally.
yeah,
That would be great.
easy. The other thing that I don't know we have to the extent that we want it to be, but the individual Peace Chain log, the recipient log that we have as a club, we're going to eventually have it evolve into the Peace Chain log as a district. So we're going to want to combine those at some point. Right now, each club's going to handle them individually, but at some point it's got to get combined. So as soon as everybody starts loading up their log, we'll find a way to make that happen.
Yeah, so it would be like a district directory of Peace Chain recipients, and then we'll try and categorize them by their different areas of interest. So now all of the people that are working in food and hunger services can see who's working across the district, and just try and connect people on a higher level, like links in a chain.
So I hate to go over the time limit, although people accuse me of doing that all the time. I would say if there's one area that I've had, I don't want to say difficulties, but a little bit of pushback, is a number of the people that are in the crosshairs or targets for this. They just don't want to be recognized. They say, "Liz, I don't do this for recognition. You're not going to give me an award." And the way that I explain that to them and the way I get them to, let down their guard and say, okay, you guys can recognize me, is I say that, eventually the goal for our district is to have a directory for people who are in need. And that if they're in need of food, or if they're in need of clothes, if they're in need of shelter, whatever the case may be, that they would be able to go to the peace chain log and they would be able to find the source of support that that individual is looking for. And without those people being recognized, without them coming to our meeting and accepting this piece of paper, they wouldn't be on that. They wouldn't be on that directory, and people might not be able to find them. So that's been a little bit of a attack that I've had to take in order to encourage some people to be recognized. Something to consider.
Dave Orrs here from LaSalle Centennial. So you, Mark, you've been talking about this as something that's been ongoing within your club. This is new to me, and I think it's new to most of the district, if I'm not mistaken. So am I right in my understanding that this is something that you guys have kind of been test driving for the last while, and now it's being rolled out to everyone?
That is correct. Noel asked me to kind of be the guinea pig here in Trenton and, just see this thing through. I'm not gonna say we know it all yet, but we've got a pretty good base of knowledge and information, and I certainly want to make myself available to all of the presidents, and if the president makes a selection of a peace chair or peace chain chair within your club, for them to reach out and ask me any questions or give you any help. And in the event I shouldn't say if in the event we get to meet again in person, when we get together, when we get a chance to meet again in person, I would be more than happy to come to your club and do the presentation. And while you're still doing it on Zoom, I guess I can say I'd be willing to do the presentation on Zoom as well.